This past weekend, I went to see Fast and the Furious 10, the near finale of the 20-year franchise. And after I saw it, I decided I needed to go back and do some research on this series. So I immediately went back and watched Fast and the Furious 1. And the one thing I noticed when watching Fast and the Furious 1 is how much this series has changed. This is the big scene from Fast and the Furious 1. A street race down the strip. That's it. They race down the strip and they use NOS to go faster. And so I was immediately intrigued. I wanted to know, wait a minute. I've been watching this series for 20 years and like a lobster cooking in a pot, I never noticed when it started boiling. At what point did this movie series get crazy? When did it get crazy? Ludacris is introduced in Too Fast, Too Furious as like a club owner slash pimp slash garage owner who organizes street races and is pretty chill. Oh, but then I kept watching and he disappears from 3 and 4. And then all of a sudden, he's reintroduced to the series in Fast 5.
With an insulated copper core to protect against thermal lands. A Class 3 electronic lock with a surefire griffin retumbler and a biometric palm scanner.
Do I want to know how you know all that?
I had a life before you knew me, O'Connor.
That's the only explanation they give. He just changes character completely to a world-class hacker and electronics expert. And the one line they give is that I had a life before you met me. But what's even crazier is at the end of that movie, they're talking about how they're going to split up the money. And Tej says, yeah, man, when I get this money, my dream is to go back home and open a garage. That's what you came from. You have a garage. We saw it in Too Fast, Too Furious. And I decided to use that as the basis for my ranking. That would be 1 Luda unit. Because of how ludicrous it is. I created a system, a scale, if you will, known as the Furious Assessment Matrix by implied Luda yield, aka F.A.M.I.L.Y. So, Fast 5, Tej from club owner to hacker is 1 Luda unit. And everything in the first movie that's crazy is really all about one mystical, magical thing called NOS. And it can do anything. It can make you go as fast as you want at any time. Then his car starts leaking nuts and bolts. And there's a train coming. And they get past the train. I mean, look at that. That wouldn't even break a sweat in the later movies. But in this one, they do slow-mo. This is the big finale of the movie. Holy shit. There's a couple things I want you to notice about that. That'll be very important coming forward. Number 1, Vin Diesel makes a mistake. He doesn't watch the road, and therefore it causes an issue. I want you to know that will never, ever happen again. Number 2, the car takes damage. It flips, one time, and it gets scuffed up. Vin Diesel gets hurt in the accident. He's bleeding. He's bleeding. It's so funny that he's bleeding from that flip, because at one point he is going to drive a car from the back of a plane and fall 700 feet onto a freeway and have no damage. Now, this is not even as crazy as Tej becoming a hacker. This is not even 1 Luda yield. So we'll put it down here at like 0.25, 0.5. By Fast 3, aka Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift, this guy is supposed to be playing a high schooler.
What job? Delivering pizzas?
This guy looks fucking 33, bro. No shot. Like that. Oh no. He knocks over a fucking porta potty. It actually is by far the lowest octane of all of the Fast and the Furious movies. The biggest stunt of the whole movie upon rewatch was the following, where while street racing in Japan, they drift through a crowd of people. It's a cool scene, It probably would have ended with tons of civilian deaths, but but that's it. I mean, the pedestrians got out of the way. That's the craziest thing to happen in the whole fucking movie. 0 to 0.25 Luda yield. It's just not that crazy. So far, we are 3 movies in, and everything's been pretty normal. It all falls around 1 Luda yield. But then they bring back Vin. They are no longer just street racers. The plot of the movie is that Brian, who was formerly an LA beat cop, is now, for no reason, an FBI agent hunting drug cartels. And he needs the help of his old friend Dom to stop a $60 million shipment of heroin. First thing we get that's very, out of normal character for Fast and the Furious so far is Dom, after his wife Letty dies. By the way, side note, Letty, played by Michelle Rodriguez, dies in this movie right at the beginning. The reason, apparently, is due to a contract dispute. She wanted to get paid more, and so they killed her character off. But then, later, when she agreed to a contract, they just brought her back. She's dead. They bring her back with amnesia. Anyway, in this movie, Dom, despite not having been there, can use his psychic mind powers to reimagine every detail of her death. Just like Batman. You can remember this? It is very similar to this. Brian's about to get killed. And there comes Dom. Dodges bullets. I don't know how this wheelie happens. Because he's not, you can't lean back. Where does he get he just revs. He doesn't press the NOS button. It's the force, I expect that. Brian holds him and he pins him to a car. Badass. Still relatively grounded, to be honest.
Pussy.
Calling a guy a pussy for dying to getting hit by a car is very funny. I will rank this scene 1.25. I think it's the zaniest thing we've seen thus far, but I don't think it's that crazy. The part that's also crazy is that Dominic Toretto, a street racer, is teaming up with the FBI to kill and murder drug lords. That in itself makes it a little bit crazy. These have gotten crazier. Fast 5 is what I would call the breaking point. We are halfway through the series, and things start to take a real turn.
Power, we stay hungry,
Him.
Put in the work.
The Rock starts showing up in Fast 5, and The Rock will not tolerate a movie that is getting 1 to 2 Luda yields. Simply adding The Rock adds a Luda yield on its own. Now, by the way, the plot of this movie is that they are coming together to steal $100 million. And we get this. Drives out of a moving train. Paul Walker has to get to safety, but can Vin save him? You fucking know it, brother, because it's about one thing, baby. Family! And then instead of turning, they decide the best option now is to speed up. Hell yeah, brother! Now these are fucking movies! Now these are movies, bro. Welcome to the Fast and the Furious franchise. That is some fucking Luda yield. If we were looking to answer just the question of when the series starts to get crazy, I would say it's that moment. And I put that at a 4. But it's not necessarily the craziest stunt even in that movie. In fact, at the end of the movie, they decide to accomplish the heist by yanking the vault out of the wall and driving it through Rio with 2 muscle cars. At no point does this giant fucking safe, pure friction, no wheels on it, ever slow them down.
You guys have every corrupt cop in Rio on your tail. You guys have to move fast.
That line's very important. They threw that in on purpose. She says, you have every corrupt cop in Rio on your tail. The reason they say that is because Dom and Brian are about to murder dozens of police. And they need you to know they're corrupt, so it's okay for the audience to believe in the family. Not even slow down a little bit. All of the people in that bank or whatever were corrupt as well. They were corrupt civilians.
Right now!
It turns out that having 2 cars attached to the safe, or 1, changes nothing about the speed. They pull it at the same speed, whether it's 1 car or 2, whether it's attached to the both sides or 1, changes nothing. The force! Use the force! What's he gonna do? What's he gonna do? Dead. 100% dead. So dead. Instantly dead. Both dead. And their partners, all corrupt. All corrupt. Dead. Dead. Sliced his head off. Dead. At this point, Dominic Toretto has decapitated a police officer in Rio and is still regarded as a hero. Only now does the safe somehow exert some force back on the car. Notice that Dom is unscathed. Remember, in the first film, where even a basic flip left him bloody, bruised, scratched, covered in dust. Now, he's unhurt. This is officially the first amazing Fast and the Furious scene of all time. And I will put it at a 6. It's only a 6. Now we're in Fast 6, where we get a Palpatine moment. Somehow Letty returned, and she's got amnesia. By the end of the movie, Dom must save her. And that's where we get one of the most insane scenes in Fast and the Furious history.
Look.
We are now introducing not just cars, but tanks in a highway freeway chase. Dominic planned this, by the way. He planned this. No way, bruh. No way. No fucking way. He timed when the anchor car would hit the bridge. And then, even though a fucking Ford Mustang can pull a 2-ton safe across a city, a tank flips when a fucking Kia Sorento falls, dude. Sending her in the air. This was his plan, by the way. He saw the physics. He knew she'd be here. He jumps in the hood of his own car. Bravo! That is a fantastic fucking stunt, bro. No damage, by the way. Watch him get up. Not even a scratch on his fucking shirt. And we need to put this up at, I gotta say, a solid 7. This is clearly the most insane stunt we've seen in any of the movies thus far. Let's get into the final 3. Fast and the Furious 7. And this movie is really The Rock's movie. This is when The Rock starts to peak and begin to flex. Actually, flex is the right word, because at one point in Fast 7, The Rock, with a broken arm, flexes his cast off. Deckard Shaw's introduced, and they play a game of chicken, Dom Toretto and Deckard Shaw. And because both of them are so fucking stupid and know they have plot armor, they decide not to play chicken at all, but just to slam headfirst, full speed into each other. Theoretically, they should both die on impact. Instead, they're both healthy. cracks his neck.
That this was going to be a street fight?
And now, of course, the SAS are involved. There's a lot of things that happen in this one. This film is probably the highest density of insane Luda moments. What might surprise you is that is not the only time they play chicken, not only in the series, but in that movie. And again, the point of chicken is for someone to turn. But neither of them decide to do that. Instead, Vin launches into a trademark wheelie and tries to eat the other car. It's full-on Star Wars now, bro. It's full-on Duel of the Fates, fucking wrench fighting. This fight's incredible. And they both get an equal number of hits in. That is not an accident. It is written into their contracts that neither one of them can lose a fight. So, how do you end this fight? We have an unstoppable force versus an immovable object. Both sides cannot legally lose. A little help from Toph Beifong.
The street always wins.
Dominic Toretto becomes an earthbender and literally breaks a fucking parking garage by stomping. We're in the real, we've broken an insane barrier. Dom earthbending. Where do we put that? I gotta say at least an 8.
Time to unleash the beast.
I forgot he says that. Fucking chills.
John, cars don't fly! Cars don't fly!
Cars do fly, brother. The brakes don't work!
No brakes!
It does it again. It does it again. Cars can now fly. Where do we put that? We are really in the end game now. Skyscraper jump, I do believe, is officially a 9. And that is our final stunt from that movie. As you can see, Fast and the Furious 7 remains one of my all-time favorite Fast and the Furious movies because you literally start to finish just keep saying, what the fuck? There is no sub-5 Luda shit in this movie. Now, we're in the last 2. Fast 8, a.k.a. The Fate of the Furious. It's the end of the movie, and everyone is praying. They're out of options. But then Dom shows up. By the way, they're like in Antarctica, by the way. They've gone from street racing in downtown LA to racing through Antarctica. And that's when the nuclear submarine appears.
What are you doing? This is crazy! Speed up! Let them back! What?
The Rock ice skates while going 100 miles per hour to redirect a moving torpedo. Woo, baby! We've reached 9 Ludas! And that might not even be the craziest thing in that movie, because the submarine plays an even bigger role as it starts to break through the ice.
Come and get him.
He juked a missile with his fucking Mustang.
This is for my son.
He's fine. Don't worry, Letty, he's fine. Family! Family! They're fine, by the way. They're fine. They shielded the blast of an exploding nuclear submarine with their cars. Oh, it is worth noting that the submarine itself is also fine. Even the submarine can't die. It comes back in a later movie. So where do we put that? Because that is probably the craziest thing we've seen so far. Dominic Toretto, former street racer, just destroyed a nuclear sub while driving through Antarctica. That, my friends, is a 9.25. We have The Rock's missile, which I'm going to put at a 6.5 because I believe The Rock could really do that. The combo of 7 and 8, which, by the way, were both, one by one, the highest grossing films in the franchise, smash successes globally, have truly taken this series to new octane heights. Again, a lot of these stunts are crazy. And throughout this whole rewatch, and the first time I saw them in theaters, I've said, oh shit, or fuck off, or laughed at a lot of these stunts. But for whatever reason, the next stunt I'm about to show you is the one that had me crying. So we're going to watch the rope swing from Fast 9. The scene that made me laugh the hardest of any scene. Tej crosses a rickety bridge and it breaks as it's going. That isn't the part I'm talking about. I want you to know that was insane. That's not it. Because then Dom has a moment that Einstein himself could not even come close to fathoming.
Where's the bridge? No.
He just blew it. It's fine. It's fine. Look at his shirt. No scratches. They're fine.
Well, that was new.
Dude, that had me fucking dying. He only has 1 second before he realizes there's no bridge. In that 1 second, he's like, okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna fucking nos full speed into that last surviving post, hook it into my wheel, and use that to slingshot myself across. For me, there's no other place to put that than a 9.25. How can we possibly top that? Surely there's nothing left in Fast 9. Surely they've peaked. A nuclear submarine in Antarctica, you can't get crazier than that. There is nothing on Earth that could top that in Fast 9. And that's true. And that's true. There is nothing on Earth. SpongeBob diver suits in a fucking I don't even know what kind of car is that. It's a Pontiac Fiero. Ladies and gentlemen, we've breached containment. We've breached 10 Ludas. We've breached the single most insane stunt in the history of Fast and the Furious. This is one small step for man, one giant NOS-fueled boost for mankind.
We're in outer space! Told you numbers don't lie.
Numbers is what you do, right? Driving is what I do.
Bro, it's not driving. You can call driving. At no point does this anything remotely close to driving. He shifted. He shifted gears. They use NOS in space. The solution to running out of the fucking fuel thruster gigawatters to NOS in space and ram head first into the satellite. Yeah! The single most ludicrous scene in Fast and the Furious history. I give it an 11. It breaks the scale. Let's go, baby! And that, my friends, charts a perfect graph of the Fast and the Furious franchise, from humble beginnings to the heights of space. When did the series go crazy? Simple answer, Fast 5. When did it reach its heights? Fast 9. And that is why I have to say, it is my unfortunate disappointment to announce that Fast 10 does not continue this trend.